We were never meant to raise kids alone. The evolutionary reason parenting feels so hard. Have you ever looked at an exhausted parent and wondered how their A baby deer quickly follows its mother. Even young chimpanzees arrive surprisingly prepared for life. Human babies are different, painfully different. Compared to other mammals, they're astonishingly helpless. They can't walk. They can't feed themselves. They can't regulate their own body temperature very well. For months, sometimes years, their survival depends entirely on someone else. From a biological perspective, human babies almost seem unfinished. And in many ways, they are. To understand why, we have to go back millions of years. Long before cities, long before agriculture, long before civilization, our ancestors were evolving something that would eventually change the planet. Larger brains. Those brains gave us language, planning, creativity, technology, everything that eventually allowed humans to dominate the earth. But evolution rarely gives without taking something away. And bigger brains created a serious problem. Human mothers still had to give birth. The birth canal could only become so wide before walking efficiently became difficult. Evolution faced a dilemma. A larger brain improved survival. A larger head made birth more dangerous. The solution was a compromise. Human babies began arriving earlier, much earlier. In a sense, every human baby is born before development is complete. The first year of life is almost like an extension of pregnancy. Except now, all that growth happens outside the womb. And that creates an enormous burden, because somebody has to keep that vulnerable little human alive. Every hour, every day, for years. This is where human beings became different from almost every other species. No mother could realistically carry that burden alone. Not while gathering food. Not while avoiding predators. Not while surviving harsh winters or droughts. One person simply didn't have enough time or energy. So humans evolved a different strategy. We became cooperative breeders. In simple terms, we evolved to raise children together. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies repeatedly observe the same pattern. Babies are rarely cared for by just one adult. They're constantly passed from person to person. Grandmothers help. Fathers help. Older siblings help. Aunts, uncles, cousins, friends. At certain points in the day, a child may interact with a dozen different caregivers. To modern parents, that sounds unusual. To our ancestors, it was normal. Necessary, even. The village wasn't helping raise the child. The village was the childcare system. One of the most fascinating examples comes from what's known as the grandmother hypothesis. Humans are unusual because women often live for decades after they stop having children. From a purely biological perspective, that seems strange. Why would evolution favor a long lifespan after reproduction ends? One answer may be surprisingly simple. Grandmothers increased the survival chances of grandchildren. By helping care for children, gathering food, and passing on knowledge, they allowed mothers to have more surviving offspring. In other words, human families became successful because multiple generations worked together, not because parents did everything alone. Now fast forward to today. For the first time in our species' history, millions of parents are trying to raise children with almost none of the support systems that shaped human evolution. Many families live hundreds or even thousands of miles from relatives. Neighbors barely know each other. Communities are smaller. Friendships are often weaker. Support networks are fragmented. Meanwhile, the demands of parenting haven't disappeared. If anything, they've increased. Parents are expected to provide emotional support, education, safety, entertainment, nutrition, and constant supervision, all while working full-time jobs. And somehow we're surprised that people feel exhausted. Imagine asking one person to move a grand piano that normally requires 10 people. When they struggle, you wouldn't call them weak. You'd recognize that the task itself was never designed for one person. Modern parenting often feels exactly like that. Many parents aren't failing. They're attempting a job that human beings evolved to perform collectively. The problem isn't always personal. Sometimes it's structural. Sometimes it's evolutionary. And yet, despite all of this, something interesting happens whenever communities come together. When grandparents help, when friends babysit, when neighbors support each other, when parents share responsibility, stress drops, mental health improves, children benefit. Suddenly, parenting starts feeling a little closer to what it was always supposed to be. Not easy, but manageable. There's an old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Most people treat it like a piece of folk wisdom, a nice phrase, a sentimental idea. But beneath those words is something much deeper. For hundreds of thousands of years, human survival depended on cooperation, not independence. The modern world celebrates self-sufficiency, doing everything yourself, never needing help. But human beings didn't become successful because we were independent. We became successful because we worked together. We shared food. We shared knowledge. And perhaps most importantly, we shared the responsibility of raising the next generation. So if parenting feels harder than you expected, if you feel exhausted, if you feel overwhelmed, remember this. The problem may not be that you're weak. The problem may be that you're trying to do alone what human beings evolved to do together. Maybe the answer isn't becoming stronger. Maybe it's rebuilding the village. 6, the question
because
that
long
keeps
before
philosophers
cities,
awake.
governments,
Now
or
we arrive
technology,
at the strangest
the village
part.
was
How do you
humanity's
know you're awake
greatest
right
survival
now?
tool.
It sounds like
And
a
perhaps
joke,
deep
but
down
it's a
it
serious
still is.
question. Because while you're dreaming, you usually believe you're awake. You don't question the flying, or the talking animals, or the fact that somehow your high school math teacher is sitting in your childhood kitchen. Everything feels reasonable in the moment. Only after waking up do you realize how absurd it was. The philosopher René Descartes became obsessed with this idea centuries ago. If dreams can feel completely real while we're inside them, how can we ever be absolutely certain we're not dreaming right now? Modern neuroscience offers an uncomfortable answer. It can't, because your brain never experiences reality directly. It receives signals,
Light, sound,
electrical impulses, and from those fragments, it constructs a model of the world. A best guess. In a strange way, dreaming and waking aren't opposites. They're cousins. Both involve the brain creating a version of reality. The only difference is where the information comes from. Ending. Tonight, when you close your eyes, remember this. Your brain is about to build another world. A temporary universe filled with people, places, emotions, and stories. Most of it will disappear before morning. Some of it will stay with you for years. And a few dreams may follow you for the rest of your life. Maybe the mystery isn't why dreams exist. Maybe the mystery is why reality feels so similar to them. Because if the brain can create entire worlds while we're asleep, what else might it be creating while we're awake? And maybe that's the real question dreams leave behind. Not what happens when we sleep, but what it actually means to be conscious at all. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden architecture of the mind, subscribe to Ching Ching's Deep Archive. Because next time, we'll explore another unsettling question. Are you really the same person you were 10 years ago?